kailabreece.
Victor Hugo, French writer and human rights activist, wrote, "Slavery still exists, but now it applies only to women, and its name is prostitution." But on the other hand, Jeanette Angel, also a French writer and activist, wrote, "The only way to stop profiting from the use of women's bodies is for prostitution to be legalized, because legalization will open it up to regulation, and regulation means safety." Interesting. So, is prostitution slavery, or is it merely tagged immoral because it has been operating illegally? The word itself is used metaphorically to mean debasement or working towards an unworthy cause, so there's already tons of negative baggage surrounding the term. Prostitution is historically and culturally everywhere. In ancient Greek society, prostitution was engaged in by both women and men. Female prostitutes could be independent, and sometimes they were very influential within their communities. Some of these women even charged extraordinary sums for their services. Historically, prostitution was widely legal in the United States. It wasn't made illegal until the early 1900s, thanks to the influence of the Women's Christian Temperance Union, who were also influential in the banning of drug use and the prohibition of alcohol. The legal status of prostitution varies from country to country, from being considered a profession to being punishable by death. Some jurisdictions outlaw the actual behavior, while others do not prohibit the act itself, but ban the activities typically associated with it, like soliciting in a public place, operating a brothel, pimping, etc. Then there are the countries where prostitution is legal and regulated, collecting booty on the booty. History aside, the most serious problems associated with prostitution is the fact that it tends to be coupled with violence. One view insists that such brutality occurs because prostitution is kept illegal and the industry is forced to operate on the black market, the sex trade. Another view, however, believes that by legalizing it, it would not improve the situation, but instead make it worse. My question to my fellow intellectuals is this: what do you think of prostitution? Not so much would you ever pay for it, but is it really that morally wrong to trade one's beauty and sexual services for currency? And is it more costly and dangerous to legalize and regulate it than it is to continue preventing those who partake in it? Now, I'll say it again. I feel that if a problem has proven to be unsolvable, it is definitely better to try controlling it, regulating it, instead of continuing to enforce laws with mixed results. I personally don't care if an individual wants to pay for sex, but if that industry is to exist, I'd like it to be safer, and I'd like to stop wasting resources on pretending to stop it. Prostitution, to me, is a form of a small business. If we legalize and regulate and tax, we eliminate the underground market, which is where the violence and diseases are. No government should be allowed to tell anyone how and what they can do with their body. Don't get me wrong, I've never gone to a prostitute, nor do I plan to, but I'll be damned if some crazy Christian temperance union can decide the personal fate of others. I think prostitution scares many, because a large portion of the world population is simply uncomfortable with the very concept of sex. Let's remember the words of English writer and feminist Angela Carter. The whore is despised by the hypocritical world because she has made a realistic assessment of her assets. Think about that. This is kailabreece. What do you know?